Hi everybody, we're going to continue with our Bible readings today and we're starting with story 13, the best way to live. Boom, boom rolled the thunder. Zigzag went the lightning across the sky. It was very scary. The people of Israel had reached the great mountain, the place where God had told Moses to bring them. God spoke to Moses, and Moses spoke to the people. I love you, and I want you to be my best, special people, God said. But first I will tell you the best way to live. Boom, boom, rolled the thunder. Zigzag went the lightning across the sky. It was very scary. God spoke to Moses, and Moses told the people the best way to live. He gave them 10 good rules to help them to be happy. 1, God said, always remember that I am your God. I have rescued you, and I love you. 2, don't let anything else take my place. 3, remember who I am when you talk about me. 4, there are 6 days for work and 1 day for rest. That's my special day. 5, always listen to your mother and father. Never make them unhappy. 6, you must not take a person's life, for life is very precious. 7, husbands and wives must keep their special love just for each other. 8, don't steal what belongs to someone else. 9, don't tell lies. 10, don't be greedy for what other people have. God spoke to Moses, and Moses told the people many other things. The best way to live, Moses said at last, is to love God and to love one another. This is what God wants. This is the way to be really happy. What do you say? We say yes! Yes, we will love God, the people promised. We will live as God wants. That's best. It's the way to be really happy. So the people of Israel became God's special people. All that God said about the best way to live was written down. Put a copy in a special box that you can carry with you, God said, and make me a tent of my own. It is to go in the middle of your camp to remind you that I am there with you always. The people did as God said. They made the special box. They called it the ark, like Noah's boat. And they made the most beautiful tent for God. Everyone gave their very best things to make it lovely. Moses' brother Aaron was the high priest, in charge of everything to do with God. He had special clothes to wear. Aaron helped people keep their promise to love God and to live as God wants. Now it was time to leave the great mountain. The people took down their tents and set out once more. They were going on a journey to a land of their own, a journey to the land that God promised. And God was going with them. Story 14, the land of the giants. Joshua and Caleb crept forward. No one must see them. They were taking a secret look around the land God had promised. Now they could see the valley below. Just look at all those grapes, said Joshua. The biggest and the juiciest I've ever seen, Caleb said. We must take some back to Moses. This is a good land for our people. Moses had sent 12 men out to spy the land, north and south, east and west. Joshua came back to Moses. It's good land, they said. Just look at these grapes. They were almost too heavy to carry. Let's go there now, Caleb said. We know God will help us. But the other spies were much too scared. We saw giants in the land, they told Moses. We saw giants in the land, they said to the people. They will stomp on us like grasshoppers. Then all the people were very scared too. They grumbled and grumbled. Why is God taking us to a land of giants? We want to go back to Egypt. It's a good land, Joshua and Caleb said again. Don't be scared. We know that God will help us. But no one would listen. Why won't my people trust me? God said to Moses. Didn't I rescue them from Egypt? Didn't I tell them, find food and water in the desert? Why won't they trust me to help them now? They don't deserve a new land full of good things. No, Moses said, they don't. But I know that you love us, even when we don't deserve it. So won't you give us another chance? Not the grown-ups, God said, because they would not trust me, just the children. They will go in and enjoy the new land when they are grown up. Joshua and Caleb too, because they trusted me. So the people stayed for 40 long years in the desert until the children were grown up, all because they would not trust God to help them. Story 15. Joshua wins the day. Open up! Open up! There are spies in your house. Bring them out. The king's men shouted and banged at the door of Rahab's house in the city of Jericho. Joshua had sent 2 spies across the river, the Jordan River, and Rahab had hidden them. Rahab didn't want the king's men to find the spies, so she sent them to look somewhere else. If you're quick, you may catch them, she said, as the soldiers hurried off. When the king's men had gone, Rahab said to the spies, God will give you this city. I know it. When that happens, promise you'll be kind to my family as I have been kind to you. We promise, they said. Joshua was the leader of God's people now. It was time to go into the promised land. God was going with them to help them. Tomorrow we cross the river, the Jordan River, Joshua said. The Jordan River was deep and wide, but Joshua trusted God. The people had come to the end of their long, long journey. They still had to cross the deep, wide river, but God would help them. The men who carried the ark went first. They stepped into the river, and at that very moment, the water stopped coming. They stood in the middle of the deep, wide river, which was quite dried up, and the people went safely across. Now they knew that God was going with them. They trusted God and were not afraid. The big wooden gates of the city of Jericho were shut tight. The people inside were afraid. Outside, the soldiers of Israel marched around the walls. Once around the walls, they didn't talk. They didn't shout. In front went men with the trumpets. Every day for 6 days, the soldiers marched around the walls. Once around the walls, they didn't talk. They didn't shout. Every day for 6 days, the men with the trumpets went in front. The 7th day came. The soldiers marched around the walls and around the walls and around the walls. 7 times around the walls. Then the men with the trumpets lifted them high and blew. And the soldiers all shouted. God has given us the city, Joshua cried. Then the walls began to shake. The walls began to crack. The walls began to crumble. And with a great crash, the walls fell down. God had given them the city.